High vibrations, sweet babies. I'm honestly confused at how the time is 2:57 because I genuinely felt like it was 2:57 literally like 5 minutes ago. I'm having deja vu. Bear with me. We're healing, friends. We're healing. I'm here to do a not too lengthy reading, just to talk about the vibrational energy of the number 57, which has been showing up for me quite a bit in the last couple months. And I actually studied this number around the time of October because it was showing up so much, like late October. And I was here at my mom's house where I am right now, hanging out with my buddy boy, and he's snoozing on the couch next to me, so you might hear him snoring. But I kept seeing the number 57 like over and over and over and over and over again in all these weird places, as angel numbers like to pop out and do. And I hadn't really ever studied just double-digit numbers like that. I had always, been drawn to the typical, as I see in the timestamp, 111. And just, those repeating numbers, which, supposedly have a higher vibration and a higher meaning. And numerology just became completely fascinating to me all over again. I was at first pulled away from numerology after a traumatic experience that I'm currently processing in this time and space. So that's very aligned with this whole theme right now. But I felt like pulled away because I just had a very negative experience, and it kind of created a negative relationship for me by effect, with angel numbers. So it really changed that whole feeling for me when I saw them and made me pull away. And so when I was going through some really difficult times back in October, I just felt like this weird call to recognize the numbers I kept seeing around me. And I was like, okay, I've got nothing else to lose really, I might as well just make note of them, and I'm gonna look into that when I'm settled. So I wasn't really settled, but I got myself to my family's home, and I was just trying to spend time touching grass, literally getting myself grounded and trying to make sense out of my experiences, what I was feeling. And I decided to look into the number 57, 37 kept showing up, 27, 17, a lot of sevens. And I also looked into, my birth date is 12/12, which is a number that I often see just randomly all the time. Actually, in my deck of cards here that I use to do my readings, one of the cards here it is, the confirmation angel numbers, 12/12. Out of all the numbers, 12/12. So, I didn't buy this deck with any idea that was the case. And you could imagine my surprise when the first time I shuffled and pulled that card. I was like, oh, okay, you're my deck. I got you. So yeah, I went through some of those angel number meanings that I was seeing a lot of, and 111 in specific was one that was really creating a lot of activation inside of me due to that negative experience. And so I was looking into all of these numbers, and 57 was just this really soft, beautiful feeling that washed over me when I was seeing it. And so much of what numerologists and people who study the vibration of angel numbers and all that kind of stuff, they'll tell you that it's important to notice what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, what you're paying attention to, when those numbers show up, because that brings a lot more personal and clear meaning to what the message usually is. So with 57, it asks us to have faith and to truly open ourselves up to the idea of miracles and the impossible becoming possible. I like to think of my church live stream that I've been watching now for many months, like almost 6 months now, which is like really freaking cool for me to be on such a unique spiritual journey in that way. I just wanted to really deepen my faith in a way that was familiar to my ancestors and all that good stuff. So anyway, one of the things that I really like is the uncommon favor, and that God works in supernatural ways, right? So like the unusual kinds of miracles that don't really make sense. Just being open to things working out for our highest and greatest good in unusual and uncommon ways. And to me, that's really the underlying energy to the number 57. So I'm going to pull a few cards. So when I talk about the energy of a number, like what does that mean? Like everything is frequency. Everything is 27. I told you. Loves to show up. Everything is frequency, meaning everything is numerical. And so if there's a frequency to everything, that means that each frequency is each frequency is explained, I guess, or organized, right, by like a number system or a value. And that frequency and what that value represents is how you can work with numerology. So when you think of the value of each number and you look at like 57 or 27 or 1212 or 33, these add up to another value, which means another frequency that's represented by that number. And we're always interacting with things that are going to influence that. And, you know, people like to talk like, oh, good vibes only, or, you know, my aura and things like that. And that's really what we're kind of talking about here, is like the energetic resonance of your vibrational frequency around you. And our frequency is really created mostly by our nervous system, which stretches 6 feet beyond our physical body. And this is what gives off electromagnetic frequency, and it's represented by a numerical value. And when we interact with certain things, we have that frequency or value change, which means our aura, right, changes, or our vibes change. And the reason I'm saying that like that is because I don't want the trendiness of those words to devalue like the science behind it. So, you know, I encourage you to go like fact check me, please. I encourage you to go and look into the, you know, quantum sciences that speak to all of this. It's so fucking cool, and I might just do that myself. So interesting enough, a lot of the same cards that were showing up around the time of October where I was really feeling into this number is showing up. 17, exactly. Wow. So right off the bat, all of these cards are really, really beautiful. None that can be misconstrued as anything like, anything scary or off-putting. And I think that really speaks to what that number 57 represents. It's like, believe in anything being possible, but like for your highest and greatest good. Instead of like worrying is like worshiping the problem. I think that's the quote. I don't remember. Instead of, just worrying about the worst possible outcomes, and I need to take my own advice in this, believe you me, we can start to have a more hopeful approach to things. The cards here want you to consider your relationship to life, to your joy, to your hope. Just all of those things are very much like the energy of 57. What is your relationship like with hope? Like how do you apply hope to your life? What is your relationship with your achievements and your joy? Like, what do you feel like you've truly been able to achieve on your own, and what did you maybe need to have a little extra faith around, and what things do you believe the divine played a part in? These are all what I like to call, it's pudding, like the proof is in the pudding. Like, things can go your way, things can have what seem like completely improbable outcomes, and you can achieve extremely incredible things. And this number also asks us to make sure that we have a lot of joy and appreciation and pause around the things that we want to achieve, or the things that we do achieve. We need to have a hopeful outlook on what we want to achieve, but we also need to make sure that we pause and really enjoy the things that we achieve. And have patience with the journey and the potential outcomes. It sometimes might feel like a spiral, sometimes might feel like you're going in circles, sometimes you might even find yourself replaying the same cycles. But as I said in the last reading that I did, you can look at cycles as a circle, like a cyclical, like doing the same thing over and over and over again. Or you can decide to look at it as an infinity sign, which is more of a dance, and it has a fluidity to it, and there's high points and low points, and points that intercept, and points that like mirror. And I don't know, it's really all about how you decide to look at it. And you can definitely use this potential, this infinite potential of the universe and what's within yourself when you're looking at what's possible and your opportunities. And just a quick reminder, like 57 wants you to believe in what's possible or what might feel impossible, because you're always on your right path. So your joy, your relationship to joy and your relationship to hope need to come from a more enlightened place, like a more spiritual place. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, allow yourself to have a relationship of hope even when things look murky and things look improbable. Allow yourself to have a relationship to joy even when you're in dark times, okay? Because 1414 has been showing up. I'm curious about that number. I don't know much about it. Think of yourself like a lotus flower, right? It goes through this death and rebirth cycle, and it does quite literally the impossible and blooms in mud. It blooms where one might think it's not supposed to be able to. It blooms where it's planted. It blooms no matter what the circumstances. And it also wants you to know that your relationships, the people around you, also have the potential to surprise you and, show up for you in more enlightened ways. So if you are kind of like worried about things, if you're having trouble being faithful around things or faithful in your relationships, like this number is showing up to show you like miracles can happen, like things have the potential to be abundant and beautiful regardless of the circumstances in which they look right now. And when you have that perspective, you're coming from a much more enlightened place. And this is where doors open. This is where you're going to find these opportunities that really speak to your potential and what you can actually feel aligned with and feel, like a karmic balance, I know that sounds a little left field for this reading, but what I'm seeing is like there is when you have the ability to look at your circumstances and as bleak as they might be, you also show up with just as much hope and just as much faith and have that perspective. The universe doesn't want to disappoint you. Like, the divine doesn't want to set you up just to kick you down. Like, it's important for you to remember that your opportunities are just as much an influence on how much hope you have, what perspective you have, where you're able to see the beauty in things, and what outlook you decide to have. If you decide to decide that the universe if you decide that the universe has unlimited potential and the divine can literally bless you and create miracles in your life, like that is equal a contributor to things taking shape. And mind into matter, right? Mind into matter. Whatever your mindset is around things, so it will be. So when 57 shows up, it's there to remind you to shift your mindset into believing that anything's possible. The universe has unlimited potential to bless you. Miracles do in fact happen. Be mindful of the naysayers, the people who want you to believe otherwise, because they're not seeing 57. Maybe they're seeing some other number. I don't know which one they're seeing, but 57 is showing up for you and your journey and your path, so you can have an outlook, more beautiful outlook on life, that things are possible, things are subject to change, and they could just be the most improbable, supernatural, outrageous changes that you could imagine. I hope you enjoyed this little numerical energy reading. I'm thinking about doing some other ones soon, but I'm definitely all tapped out for today because I'm going through it in my life, friends, and I need myself a 57, okay?